kind of want to go something different. I mean, with sword being such a low chance, it's also kind of a boring start. I want to see Fire Rod myself.
Nice. I haven't seen too many fire rods. I'm hoping for, I don't know, let's see, Cane of Samaria this time.
The cane is definitely a nice start, in the sense of it doesn't use too much magic, and you can just push the blocks into the enemies, which makes it for a nice way to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Early map check: crystals at Eastern and Hera, and then a red crystal at Desert.
Nice. 3 crystals in the light world. That always feels good.
That has been both seeds have commentated today already, so this is the third. There's a pattern. And we're getting bombs for a third time as well. The reason I like Bomb Start is it shows you who has really practiced the strats and are not. Since we are in round 7, there's been so many opportunities to get the practice down in Bomb Start.
Yeah, it really does provide a good showcase for some interesting strats early on, and kind of separate some of the good runners from some that haven't practiced the strat quite as much.
Right, exactly. And we also get a mirror, so this could make for a very quick escape.
Yeah, in general, bombs kind of slows down the pace of the escape sequence, but that mirror is going to make them up a lot of time.
Right, exactly. Not having to track their way up the castle again, can just mirror to the front as soon as they save Zelda. It saves, let's say, about 45 seconds to a minute.
Definitely would.
Depending on bombs, of course.
Both runners playing. Yeah, very nice.
Absolutely fantastic. Knowing exactly where to place those bombs. The blue guards especially are nice because they have only one script, so they'll walk in the same path every time. The green guard in the next room has 4 different scripts, but it has 2 different bomb placements you can do. That'll work for depending on what script it chooses. I'm pretty sure left and up you can pick up the bomb, whereas if it goes right or down, you just place the bomb and run.
Wow, this is really impressive stuff here.
Very nice from both runners. Kova using a different strat than what I'm used to seeing in that room there, picking up the second one and throwing it. It still gets it in the right spot and nails it down. And of course, you can just use pots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Green guard messing with Leyra there a little bit, but doesn't stop him from getting the key.
And putting the mirror to use, and we are on our way towards the sewers already.
Definitely. That's the other reason I enjoy the bomb start is so long as the rat doesn't mess with you too much, you should have bombs here for the bombable wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But of course, the rat doesn't necessarily have a set script. It starts in the same position every time, but other than that, it will go where it chooses.
And as our runners are making their way over to that particular rat, just a quick shout out to our tracker today, Oddwalls, clicking those buttons behind the scenes for us. Thank you very much for doing that for us.
Definitely. Tracking is no easy feat. Sometimes people check maps very fast.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Leyra has to run down this rat here. Does get it on the second bomb, very nice. And Kova right behind.
So there hasn't been too much besides the mirror, which is obviously a great find. Not too much. We have one more chest in the sanctuary that will be holding something for our runners.
Right. It's always nice when you don't find the map and escape, because then you can save a bit of time and skip it. But this time around, not so much. Gonna have to open it up.
I find that I make note of not having found the map, but I always pick up the map from this chest anyways. Like I pull it dumb like every time. It's only a couple seconds, but it's...
Yeah, I do the exact same thing. I know I've not found the map. Got it. Got the map.
Yeah.
It's like you're mentally searching for it, but just 20 rupees and off we go. Now, I've noticed a lot more people skipping Lumberjack in these later runs, just going right into the forest first, because if you're checking Lumberjack, that's a bit of time you're now losing if it's not something you need. But at the same time, it gives you information, so...
And information can be pretty powerful in this game, but I find that more often than not, we see a lot of runners skipping this check now.
Right, exactly. And we're getting a fire rod inside the forest.
Bush Crab is dropping bombs there, so that's kind of nice, but unfortunately the first one ended up kind of in an awkward position, and Kova won't be able to get any more.
Yeah, exactly. There will be another crab inside the forest on the way, so should be alright. And just a red rupee inside Lumberjack Cave. And we'll see pretty much a standard route here, going through Kakariko, Blind Set, the Well, etc. Overall, nothing too different from most seeds.
Yeah, it's pretty unusual for a runner to kind of diverge this early on and head somewhere else. Kakariko is a pretty high-density location, so it's definitely worth checking early on.
Yeah, exactly. The only way I would see a divergent is if someone's feeling lucky and they have, say, Hookshot and Lamp and Glove or something. But
yeah, if the escape sequence was pretty loaded and it might give them a kind of a sense of where to go, then maybe. But yeah, generally you don't have enough stuff to really kind of get a sense for the seed yet.
Yeah, exactly. And we find ourselves a magic cape. Anyone here want to be a superhero?
I really hate running into the cape early on in a run. It makes me think that Aga is immediately going to be a thing that I have to do.
Yeah, it's never enjoyable, especially if you find Lamp right after it or something. And it's like, do I gamble? Of course, still a Lamp and a sword away from even attempting Aga, but there's a Hookshot.
Well, that's a really nice find. So, have to get a couple more pieces here before that actually becomes super useful.
Right, exactly. It's nice to see the Hookshot as well, because your main weapon right now is bombs or the fire rod. Having Hookshot is nice for when you go over to Mini Moldorm Cave. It actually dealing damage to them, so
yeah,
makes it a free weapon. And by free weapon, I mean a bow.
Sure, yeah.
No arrows, but that doesn't matter. Well, Kova has 10. We'll get the bow shortly.
So with that bow in hand, we'll likely see a play on Eastern fairly early in this run.
Right, exactly. So long as they can traverse the dark rooms, it's a 100% completable dungeon, and it's fairly easy, I would say, to accomplish that.
Yeah, I think both of these runners, 4 and 2, they've shown their skills already with the bomb strats. They probably are pretty okay with some dark rooms.
Yeah, and if you can do a crystal dungeon, you might as well do it. Depending on when they head that way. It looks like Quake in the library. We'll see if that comes into play later or not. Now, I don't know about you or not, but when I run, I do exactly what Leyra does there, and I always check it. Even no matter what, it's just if it isn't useful, you save time. But if it's useful, you then lose time, which is the unfortunate side of things.
Yeah, I feel like in standard mode, there's it seems like there's less of a chance for that to be something good. In the Key Sanity tournament, I found a lot of runners were going for it blind, just because there could be a key there. So there are a couple more items in the pool that might be worthwhile, but here I don't see it as much.
Right, that would definitely make sense with how many keys are added.
Blue male kicking around in the dam there. That's a nice pickup.
Yeah, I can't complain about a little bit of extra defense to go along with your low amount of hearts, so... Especially with the deadly crabs coming up. And there's the lamp. We are now a sword away. The prophecy is coming true, I feel.
Oh my.
Of course, there is a lot of item locations left, so can't really count all our eggs in the one basket. And with 5 items in this cave alone, there's quite a few things to find. Well, there it is.
Oh boy, here we go.
Uh-oh. So, your options at this point is fully complete Eastern. It is fully in logic now. Of course, you have Sahasrahla over there. And then you have Agina. So, our choices are very slim. Of course, now Aghanim himself is open.
I wonder if either of our runners is going to gamble on Aghanim earlier rather than later. It seems like it's likely that it's going to be an Agaseed, but if people choose to skip the Agina Cave, but that could have our hammer or mitts or something along those lines, then could be a risky gamble.
Right, exactly. You never know what might turn up in Agina, and it's such a far off, like, one item location that sometimes it kind of sucks to head that way. But as most players do, they try to stay away from Aghanim until they have to.
Yeah. We'll definitely get that Eastern clear, and then by then it'll be obviously clear at that point whether or not we need to go. We're going to have to find a couple of items at this point to really have any Dark World access, preventing this being an Agaseed at this point.
Right, exactly. We have access to, I think, 7 items left before Aga is definitive, but as of right this moment, it's looking like that. And it looks like green pendant is Skullwoods. Ooh, a mushroom, a glove. I was almost hoping for a hammer, just to, to mess with us.
So now that mushroom, I feel like in this version, mushroom has the potential to have something. If I feel if you get it early on, especially, like it might have something that you're looking for. So that adds one more kind of out of the way check to our runners' routing here.
Right, exactly. And finding that glove, opting out of doing Eastern, is actually going to head right up the mountain with a lot more potential there as well.
Actually, yeah, this has kind of opened up a fair bit. We've got the hook shot, which gets us over to East Death Mountain. So we're looking at quite a few more chests now.
Yeah, exactly. The Egg of Dreams could be crushed very momentarily. We never know.
It really was a bait and switch there, though. We got everything that we needed for Aga Tower, and now we're kind of opening up the seed a little bit here.
Right, and now we see our first divergence here. Kova heading towards Eastern Palace, whereas Leyra is going up the mountain.
Feels like both of these plays are like perfectly acceptable. I think I probably would do what Kova's doing. You know, I'm over here in the area already, so I probably would do the Eastern play first.
Right, I do the same myself. You're already here kind of thing, so it's a might as well do it while you're here. But then again, if pod is required, you may be able to just link those together, depending on if there's progression here or not.
Yeah, I think that's probably what Leyra's thinking. And also Leyra's probably thinking item density. There's more stuff up on Death Mountain, so maybe better odds of finding what you're looking for.
Right, exactly. And with access to the full Light World Death Mountain here, there could be quite a few things. And finds a bottle with a bee in it, so we'll be able to access Sick Kid eventually soon. Looks like you're going to skip at this for now. Maybe you find another bottle, or if need to, can come back for it. And it looks like pendants on Thieves' Town and pod, green pendant in Skull Woods, red crystal on ice. And be gone, little shield. Leyra does not want you today. And it looks like our stun prize this time around is a small magic jar.
So Leyra's in Tower of Hair here. We have both fire sources, so if we need to visit the basement, we can.
Right, exactly. And Leyra's actually going to opt into skipping that main chest there as well first. Of course, if you don't get your 2 items by the time you get to the top, you can check it then. But so far, with only having the fighter sword, it'll be... Oh, Kova missing the key. It'll be 6 hits to kill Moldorm at the top, though.
Yeah, it makes the fight a little bit more challenging. The potential for Trolldorm to live up to his name is a little bit higher.
Yeah, it looked like Leyra was attempting a quick bomb jump there, but falls down the hole. Not too far to walk back up, though.
So I don't think we've seen anything of value here in Eastern Palace so far. I'm not sure about the item count either. I'm not sure if the Armless Knights are holding on to the last item or not. It's the map, I think. So everything has been cleared out here.
So thus far, nothing of significance here. So I can definitely agree with the play Leyra made and going up the mountain first. But then again, it's still crystal. You can't kind of shrug it off. I looked at Leyra's Y item and I'm like, the bombs, I don't think that'll work. And I was like, oh wait, nothing else will affect it, so you have your sword. Very nice fight. And I believe there's still 1 item left in Hera here to find.
Yes, I think so.
So it's either the key in the chest or the key is locked in the basement. Will we get a coffee break this time around?
We will soon find out.
Looks like they get to relax for a few seconds. And does it very nicely. Can relax while the tower room does its thing. Of course, also has the cape, so could have done cape strats if they messed it up or something. And now I have a feeling Kova is going to be doing the same play here, heading up the mountain. Alright, now is the coffee break worth it? Not really.
No.
It puts Leyra 1 arrow ahead of Kova. It's a win in my books.
Alright, so now he's going back to grab that bottle.
Right, now it definitely makes sense on this play here, because he's got to jump off anyways to access the East Death Mountain, so definitely a do it later kind of thing. Makes sense. Oh, Kova getting dead rocked. Very unfortunate. And Grandpa's inheritance is some explosives. Have fun.
Like I said, it explains why he lives up on the mountain. Maybe he was a miner at one point.
That would make sense as to why there's boulders falling down the mountain at all times. Disrupt the flow of everything.
So Leyra heads into Paradox Cave here. We got 7 items up for grabs.
Yeah, definitely not short of item density at all. Very nice find, a Master Sword. Of course, we're still looking for a couple little things to destroy Aga. There's a Pearl and a Cane of Samaria. So at this point, we're missing either the hammer or another glove.
Yeah, and we're running out of locations again. We kind of thought that this Death Mountain play might fully open up the seed and get rid of the Aga Dream, but we are still looking. We're looking at Sick Kid and Mushroom and Agina as what might be left on the table here.
Right, exactly. The locations kind of started to dwindle a little bit here, so maybe Aga is ready to be slain. Who knows? As for now, Kova heading up the tower, gonna go fight Moldorm at the top, and Leyra running around, flailing his arms as Cactuar in Spiral Cave. That's pretty much my expression on Cactuar's face right there.
Yeah.
All right, someone in chat pointing out Zora. Zora is also a play now with gloves. Makes it a little more worthwhile having that pearl as well, because a fake flipper to go up there, you'd be able to access at least 3 of the items. But maybe with walking to hand in the mushroom, you might find yourself walking up towards the Zora area.
Yeah, I think that's what we could be seeing here from Leyra.
Moldorm just not letting Kova in the ring. Just not today. And what is our mushroom worth today? How much money? About 10 arrows worth.
Oh, that's a little disappointing. Leyra does opt to save and quit here, though, so maybe going to be doing that fake flipper we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it a little bit more worthwhile to head up in that direction. Might be thinking about the Eastern play due to skipping it earlier on. And Kova now going to go do a coffee break of their own. But our options definitely are dwindling, with Agina and Zora being the checks to do.
Yeah, definitely not much on the table. But, I mean, all told, we've got both of our runners having completed 2 crystal dungeons in less than 25 minutes. That's a pretty good start to the seed. The Aga play might slow things down a little bit, but, you know, there has been some progress made on the seed so far, which is nice.
Right, exactly. I can agree to that. Putting their skills to work here on how they decide to route the seed, pretty much a very fast time to be having 2 crystals already at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Kova gets their 10 arrows, and they'll probably head off to the East Death Mountain area. I see. They did the same thing that Leyra did. Skip the bottle until you're on your way down. Definitely like that, and I should utilize that myself more.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
So now I wonder if maybe Agina is going to hold what we need, or if it is going to be an Aga seed at the end of the day. Or maybe Zora at the same time.
Yeah, like, our 2 remaining checks are on the opposite sides of Hyrule. It's kind of ridiculous.
They're generally like the locations you try to avoid for the most part anyways, too. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was just like the spur of the moment, I'm just going to go kill Aghanim.
Yeah. I would say especially for the Zora check, because once you get into the Dark World, you're maybe thinking about going to Catfish, you've got the mirror, and then you can just mirror right over to Zora.
Right, exactly. That would make those checks a lot nicer to route in as well. At Catfish especially, considering that's a one-off location most times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Kova now with a lightsaber of their own, bright and blue. Getting their bottle of green goo as well.
It's interesting to see that our runners took different routes through this early part of the game here, but looking at where they're running right now, they're going to finish up the checks that we've seen so far at about the same time, and they're going to have to make the call on Zora, Agina, or Aghanim at this point.
Right, exactly. I think, did they do... No, Sick Kid's still available, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah, right, Sick Kid.
So we have 3 options. Or 4 options, I guess. But one could be a very big gamble if the others pay off. But at the same time, if none of those pay off, you've then sunk in a lot of time trying to find that. Those, like, simple items there.
Yeah.
And at this point, even if they were to find the glove, that doesn't totally rule out Aghanim as well, due to the hammer. Not having hammer or the flippers, I should say. Because you wouldn't be able to access the Eastern Dark World area without it.
So it looks like we've got Kova heading for South Shore, so he's going to Fake Flipper at least probably to Zora, but maybe also get Hobo in as well. We'll have to see.
It looks like Leyra is doing the exact same thing here. So as you were saying, they're finishing what they traded off on doing and now doing the exact same play now. So their minds are thinking alike, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I definitely like the fake flipper play a lot more, just due to having the information on like Hylia item. Only 50 rupees, but to know that what's there is nice. You have your hobo check for an item, and then you have 3 items you can obtain up at Zora. As well as information on another one, of course. Oh.
Sniped.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate to get noticed by that blue guard. Being able to be shot off the bridge is so unfortunate. And of course, in Fake Flipper, you normally would get soft locked, but it's coded in such a way that it'll just kill you, so that you don't have to reset or anything. But Kova not missing out on too much. It is just 300 rupees, but I'm sure they will do another attempt at it. Very nice swimming on Leyra's side, just cutting it in close to those rocks. So nice to see.
So we're sequence breaking to get these 2 chests, but hopefully they hold something that will help our runners avoid any Aghanim for now. Nope.
Just another bug in a bottle. Alright, and now we come up to the King of Scams. What will be located under where he resides? What costs 500 rupees this time around? And of course we get the information on the bug net sitting on the ledge. It's very doubtful we will get to see that anytime. Ooh. Very interesting, actually. Depending on whether or not Desert is boot locked, we could see all 3 Light World dungeons completed before even going to the Dark World.
That would be pretty interesting. It's kind of unfortunate. It feels like we're getting things that are just stringing our runners along here. You know, we keep thinking, oh, it's got to be Aghanim time now, and then one more piece comes in, and then we have to check a whole bunch of other locations before making that gamble.
Right, exactly. And now, of course, getting that book, it's worthwhile heading off into Desert now, because there's so many things you can do.
Yeah, we'll get our Agina check here as well.
Right, exactly. The Agina check, a ledge item, 2 items inside the dungeon, as well as a crystal. Definitely worth it. It looks like the Ether Medallion on the ledge.
Yeah, that is our second. We saw the Quake Medallion hanging out in the library earlier.
Just missing that information on Bombos, and we'd know where they all are. Now, in the last 2 seeds I commentated today, boots were the go mode item for a boot-locked Desert. Can we make a 3rd? No, we can't. Well, maybe the items are boot-locked.
No, they are not.
Alright, so this time around, Desert fully completable. Before we even get into the Dark World, having 3 crystals, very interesting to see.
Yeah, and this is one of our 5/6 crystals, so a little closer to potential Pyramid Fairy, although the other one is Ice Palace, and we have none of the pieces for that, pretty much. Well, at least we don't have the gold glove or flippers.
I've seen some people fake flipper to it, but I mean, never usually that sequence break pays off. You normally don't dive in there until super late anyways.
Yeah. I'd imagine like Pendant Swamp, where that would mean that you could Fate Flipper into Ice Palace and not have to get a Flippers at all, but that doesn't happen too often.
Right, exactly. Agina held a bomb upgrade for us, as well as an item in desert. Ended up being just some bombs. It's a very explosive place. And of course, gonna go down, pick up that ether medallion, and then head off to the Landmolas.
Yep, because both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock are crystal dungeons. We're probably going to need some. We're going to definitely need some medallion. So Ether might be the one that we're looking for.
Right, exactly.
Quake might be the one we're looking for as well. We know where that is, but
yeah. I mean, for all we know, could be Bombos, the one that you don't have.
Oh, it's totally going to be Bombos. Yeah, you're right.
It always seems to work out that way. If it gives you the medallion, it's not the right one.
Nah.
Very interesting to see that at 36 minutes in, we're in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the seed is running them in that direction, so I can't blame them on that. Your other choice is to gamble on Aghanim, in which maybe that's not required at the end of the day.
I guess, I mean, at this point, we really want to see the hammer here on Lammolas.
Right, exactly. And Leyra doing a very fast zero cycle for an arrow upgrade. So I think that now puts us down to just Sick Kid. In which, do you make the gamble on the Sick Boy, or do you just go to Aghanim?
The run from Sanctuary is, what, let's say, it's 45 seconds to a minute, maybe, total time that you'd have to spend on that one check. I guess you go for it before the inevitable finally sinks in.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if it's the hammer, you don't have to do it, which is a 7-minute climb. So at the end of the day, it really depends on what shows up, I suppose. You might as well definitely do that check beforehand too. So
I see Zyrak in chat pointing out the Ether Tablet is also in Logic at this point, but that is definitely an out-of-the-way location.
Very true. It's quite a ways up there. Although with a save and quit, it's not too far, but it is like you have to mirror at the top of the mountain and everything else. Yeah, definitely a Sick Kid play here.
I also guess our runners must be thinking that the seed has been slowly giving them more and more things. Like, why would you stop, you know? Like, this Sick Kid could have one more piece of progression that you're looking for.
Right, exactly. Just his heart. Why are we never able to give our hearts to people? We just receive. And this looks like Leyra going right for that Aga play. With one location left, he's just going for it. And both runners doing an excellent job on the Landmolas fight.
So let's see if Kova decides to turn in either the bottle or head up to Ether Tablet, or if he decides to go right behind Leyra here and head for Aghanim.
Right, exactly. Aga definitely feels like the play at this point in time with how much you've been run around.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely can't blame them for making those choices. And starting at Link's house, I feel that's what we're getting here.
So after all that run around, it you know, looks like our runners are pretty close here. I'd say that Kova is maybe only a minute behind right now. So pretty good race so far.
Yeah, overall, not too big a difference at 40 minutes, which is very, very crazy to see.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely shows that they're very similar in skill level. And the only thing that would make this play a wrong one would be if it was Hammer on that Ether tablet. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'd shave off a good 5 minutes or so. But they're both making the same play, so they have the same mindset on it.
I guess at this point, I'm interested to see what's on Pyramid Ledge, I guess, first. But then where our runners decide to go, whether we see a dip into a Pendant Pod, or with that hook shot, if we see one of our runners head over to Village of Outcasts and Skull Woods in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, that's very true. With 5 items being in pod, I wouldn't find it odd at all for them to be heading in there. More so often than not, I find Pendant Pod seems to hold what you need. But at the same time, having a lot of items over in the Village of Outcast area, I could see that as a potential, like, a better play in someone's eyes.
Yeah. It's interesting that the 3 dungeons that will be available to our runners when they get into the Dark World are all of our Pendant dungeons.
That's very interesting to actually note that we can do 3 crystals already that we've done, and now after that you can only do pendants.
So yeah, which one do you want to dip?
I see a lot of people like to go up into Skull Woods to get at least the 2 items out, and then a potential like first floor of the Thieves' Town.
Yeah. So a couple half dips at least at this point. Nothing, no full clears.
Right, exactly. And with Thieves' Town, it is possible to full clear. There's also that chance that you have an item locked on that chest. And I've definitely not been counting how many blue balls, so I guess I can start on Kova's side.
Didn't seem like there were too many. Feels like Leyra got through that fight pretty quickly.
Ooh, Kova missing the one though, so might have one more. That's the first one. Okay, so Leyra actually missed the hit in there too, so they have the same pattern still.
So Leyra is going to head over to Catfish here.
Definitely way out of their thing to check, but I mean, when you don't really have access to a whole lot of stuff, I can't blame him on that. As well as it's not hard to do a quick save and quit and then head over to the Village of Outcasts afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you're already kind of as close as you're going to be to this check, so I guess you might as well go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, technically this is our pyramid check here too, and a lot of people like to route them together.
Yeah.
But with just 10 arrows, not worth it. Looks like Kova's doing the same thing, so I feel like they have the same mind here.
Awesome, we're gonna get a high 5 here.
Oh, not quite. Kova ruined it. Mirrored just in time. Saw it coming, of course.
Yeah. Leyra had the hand up, and then Kova was like, nah.
100% how I see that situation. It's like, hey man, how's it go? Oh, bye.
Oh.
It was just the face on Cactuar that spooked him is all. Alright, so with both runners using the mushroom there, will not be able to do fake powder at all. But we will get a lot of item checks here, so maybe powder will turn up soon enough.
I feel like we've seen like every arrow and bomb upgrade we could possibly find so far.
I definitely think the exact same way on that. But at the same time, there's probably more.
Oh, yeah.
They tend to show up when you don't want them.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe you'll get a seed where you have like the 30 arrow capacity or only the 10 bomb capacity and you absolutely need them and can't find them.
Yeah, really.
Very quick kill on those murderdactyls. And just 20 rupees up inside Bumper Cave. And this is what I was meaning before with checking Bumper Cave later. It's not too hard to do if you route it in with, say, Bumper Cave there with Mirror.
Yeah, and you'll also see a lot of runners not even check this location until they've got the boots, and they can dash up from Bonk Rocks to save a bit of time as well.
Yeah, definitely true on that part. And of course, Leyra already having Aghanim done, just missing the boots to get that 20 rupees, but not worth it this time around. So both Skull Woods and Thieves Town are pendants, but are full clearable at this point in time.
Leyra's at least going to dip into Skull Woods first here. It is the green pendant, so a little bit of added value there that you might find something on Sahasrahla.
Yeah, exactly. I can't blame anyone for going for that green pendant with not a whole ton of options left. Of course, you have that full Southern Dark World route you can do, but at the same time, you're already up here, and it would take a while to route back up here.
Very true.
It also doesn't hurt to do, say, a ped check whilst here, having that book and mirror.
Oh, yeah. So we found one of the two items here in Skull Woods, 50 rupees, so nothing too exciting.
Those murderdactyls running Kova around quite a bit there. The only thing they have to do is be careful of their magic levels. Of course, they do have a green potion in their arsenal, so it won't be too bad. But Leyra doing a nice job there, swatting the Gibdos out of the way. And off into the Mothula fight we go. I feel myself it's one of the most annoying fights, just due to the amount of lag the spikes and Mothula itself can cause. And if you hit Mothula into a spike, it does nothing.
Yeah, it's a really frustrating fight. If you pull it off well, it feels good though. So if you can get get him into a nice kind of pattern there and take it to him, then it's a fun fight, but most cases it is definitely not. And for Leyra right now, it's probably not a fun fight. Oh,
Uses a cape strat, although
nice.
didn't end up needing it, but definitely a nice safety to have, and nice to think on the fly like that you can use the cape there and avoid all damage.
Yeah, down to half a heart. You don't want to take a death.
But very nice. Gets the green pendant, so can go turn that in later on if need be.
Still haven't found that second item, so I was going to head back in to see if this chest is the one that holds it.
Right, exactly. Now it's just the search for that item. And lucky enough, the item ends up being back here, so avoiding every chest in that first section, very nice.
Alrighty, so Leyra is going to get us our pedestal check here.
Get your hype in the chat for some couch cash. Unfortunately, everyone's hopes and dreams have died. We won't be seeing all dungeons this time around. Well, maybe we'll see them all still, but you never know.
Kova finding one more extra little magic drop there from one of the Gibdos. That's nice.
Definitely nice to see with heading into the Mothula fight here. Looks like he's going to save some magic here, it looks like, and try to slash down this Gibdo.
Yeah, that worked out pretty well for him.
And Leyra is now going to head on into the Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town. I would assume, depending on what you find in the first floor of Thieves Town, is depicting whether or not you're going to continue on.
Yeah, it's a little annoying when that first floor is just full of the dungeon items themselves.
Yeah, exactly. If you were to get a first floor that has like the boss key, which is guaranteed, of course, and you get like 3 other items, that's where you kind of want to gamble and kind of dip out of there. Whereas if you find like the small key and the map and something else, then it's like, well, now I have to really go in further. Otherwise, I've wasted time already.
Yeah. So Leyra is going to peek in here, at least for these first 4. We'll see if he goes any further than that.
And there's one dreaded item, the burrito. Kova gonna go get their heart piece out of the back end here as well, and the compass for Leyra. So there's the boss key still in play, and one other item, which has a potential of being the key.
Kova is also doing the pet check, the couch cache, so he'll have that knowledge as well.
Yep, exactly. There's our boss key on Leyra's side, and our final chest on the first floor is a teeny tiny shield. So skipping that first time over is now forced to take it.
And having found only one of the 4 items here in Thieves Town, Leyra is heading into the back.
Yeah, definitely can't blame them on that part. The small key is still in place somewhere. When you don't have the hammer, you want to hope it's in that big chest, so that way you don't actually have to have the hammer to go there. Which is definitely a possibility. And of course, running out of locations for that small key to be as well. It's not allowed to be on blind due to a potential lock here if you were to use that key on the door down there instead.
Ah.
Otherwise, you could potentially lock whatever item is up here.
So Kova is heading right into Thieves Town as well here.
The great minds think alike yet again.
So was that just like 5 rupees or a single rupee there in the chest up in the attic here?
I think so. I didn't see too much out of it. Otherwise, I would have notified it on my brain, but...
Yeah.
It was nothing of significance, that is what I know.
Our wonderful tracker Oddwalls is saying, yes, it was a green rupee.
Yeah, very nice there then. So overall, not too much here inside the dungeon. Still a little bit left to go, though. Ouch, that's not good to see. So there will be one item left in the dungeon in that big chest.
So Kova only finding the one item in the first 4 here of Thieves Town is following in Leyra's footsteps once again here. Wants to check out the back, see if there's anything else kicking around.
Leyra pulling out that cape just in case. Overall, a very nice scripted fight here. And manages to pull it off, not needing that cape in the end of it. But gets a nice tempered sword out of it. I mean, overall, I'd say that's decently worth it to knock out a pendant dungeon for.
Yeah, I guess it would have been nice if there was something else in this dungeon. There still could be something kicking around in that big chest. But yeah, I guess a tempered sword, I'd take that.
Right, exactly. Of course, there is one more sword hanging around in the world, so may not have been the best sword to find. But at the same time, both runners are doing the exact same play here.
So Leyra's going to head down to Digging Game here, Stumpy and Kova46 next. So a couple more checks that we have not seen yet.
Right, exactly. And then Hype Cave is soon to follow, I'm sure. So people can place their bets in chat now on whether they think it's going to be a Hype Cave or not. It's a very nice digging game to only have to dig twice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to seeing like 28 digs for some bombs. And definitely a nice thing to have the mirror for doing this southern check here. Just being able to check Kova46 on the way, not have to come back later. And now we get to see another blind fight on Kova's side. And Stumpy just handing over some pocket change.
This Dark World so far has been mighty disappointing.
I can definitely jump on board with that. Not a whole lot really anywhere. Looks like Leyra's gonna go check Bombo's tablet on the way here. And just 300 rupees. So having more than enough to finish off the seed now, for sure.
So we've got Hype Cave, and then we've got the dungeon that both of our runners passed up as soon as they had access to the Dark World in Pod.
I would almost assume the dungeon's passed up due to not having Hammer, but it's looking more and more likely that that might be where Hammer's located.
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to Pod, you only need the hammer to beat the boss.
Right, exactly.
With a bow in hand, it's basically fully clearable. 13 out of your 14 chests or whatever that you need to access, or items or whatever. Oh wow, there we go.
Speaking of
Hammer in the Hype Cave.
Oh my! 3 heart containers, the hammer, and bombos. I can give that a solid 9 out of 10.
I think
Maybe
so too.
even a 9.5. Like, extra health is always nice to find. Our third medallion is in there, and a hammer that we need to traverse the Dark World here.
And considering the poor reputation that Hype Cave has earned the last little while, that is a definite Hype Cave.
Right, exactly. I can't complain about what's there. And now, we can fully complete another pendant dungeon. When it's not even a ped seed. So in turn, I guess we get to see all the dungeons today.
Yeah.
Of course, the only thing that would stop that from happening is finding, say, the flippers very shortly or something like that. Maybe a glove to access some Dark Death Mountain. And the green pendant not paying off at all, only giving 3 bombs.
Oh, Leyra doesn't have Kiki trailing behind him there.
Uh-oh.
I think because he was still flickering from the mirror transition, Kiki doesn't get picked up by your sprite.
Right, that would make sense. It's technically like a invulnerable state, so it would allow you to pass by the encounter.
So this is definitely the dungeon where something progression related is kicking around. It's gotta be.
Yeah, I don't see anywhere else that it could possibly be at this point in time, just due to having searched pretty much everything else. Actually, everything else. I don't think there's anything left.
Unless that darn ether tablet actually has something.
Very true. That is still on the table. I feel that wouldn't be a potential check at all until you were to go to maybe TR or Spike Cave, I guess is now open.
Mm-hmm.
Kova now rocking 3 more hearts, a hammer, as well as that Bombos medallion. And getting a bunch of keys out of the right-hand side here. Of course, having to do this due to being bow-locked here. But now can go up the middle path. And Kova following right in behind, heading off into pod. I cannot talk anymore.
Well, this is number 3 for you today, so understandable.
Very true. And Kova gonna hand in that green pendant here.
So as usual with Pod here, we're seeing all of the small keys in the first part of the dungeon here. All of our fun stuff is kicking around in the back.
Very true. I mean, lots of items to be had. Of course, need to make sure you keep track of those 5. Maybe you don't need to fight Helmsar King. Oh, the boots. Definitely nice to see a runner run.
Yeah. I wonder if we see a lot of progression come out of Pod here. Do our runners then start to think that they're behind by a lot? Because this is a dungeon that was open up, early on in the seed as soon as they got Dark World access. And if they think that their opponent might have already grabbed those boots, that would have made their routing around the world a lot quicker already.
Yeah, that's very true to think that way. It allows you to just pretty much go anywhere at a really good pace as well. But it depends what else is here, because I don't think those boots really unlock a whole lot.
Not really. They give us King's Tomb through the mirror access, and our Quake Medallion can be picked up now, and Bonk Rocks.
The Bonk Rocks, yeah. So it does give access to a little bit, but depending on what those locations give, or what the rest of Pod here holds for us, then that would depict whether or not how much time you could save if your opponent were to come here.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, of course, lost count. Oh, the flute. Now, flute and boots. I would definitely say you'd save a lot of time.
Yeah. Now, also interesting to note that Helmasaur does have an item, and Leyra is choosing to skip out on it.
Very true.
I feel like, boots and flute, those are 2 nice items. What are the odds that, Helma's got one more excellent item that you're looking for?
Right, and of course, at this point in time, we're looking for potential silvers or like the flippers and the ice rod. So their items that we need are very low, but the chances of Helma having that one, with a lot of locations left to check, is pretty low, I'd say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like your haul was good enough out of Pod that if it does turn out to be the one thing that you're looking for, if it's the ice rod or something, then GG's to your opponent, I guess, is what you'd be thinking.
Right, exactly. And now we get our very nice duck anthem. Alright, now with having the duck loose here, where do you head first? What would be the first thing you would do in your mind here with having that? I would assume just go to Mire.
But we're missing Titan's Mitts still.
Oh, you're right. Oh.
So what did these 2 items actually get us? Flute and boots here, I mean,
faster access to Ether Tablet.
Yeah, really. And I think Leyra realizes that is the check he's got to make at this point.
Right. So maybe at the end of it, maybe Helmasaur King holds the Titan's Mitts to top this whole off. That's always a possibility now. I honestly didn't even think of Titan's Mitts at this point. And of course, those are required for 3 of the dungeons that we have left.
Oh, yeah.
Right, Leyra's gonna check out Ether Tablet, and then I would assume do Spike Cave soon after.
Mm-hmm.
But is running low on the old health. Now, if that ended up being the mitts, then Aghanim wouldn't have been required.
Yes, this is true.
The chances of that happening and having both runners do Aghanim at the end of the day would be very entertaining to see. And Leyra not going to have the health here to tackle the Spike Cave, so he's going to hope for a fairy in one of these bushes. Gets what he needs, and off he goes.
Ooh,
Kova debated
he thought about it for a second. Oh, is he going back in? Oh,
He's doing it. Okay, this could be it.
Oh,
Definitely,
no. He's waffling.
And just a red rupee at Spike Cave.
No.
It's there. It's 100% there.
Something's got to be there, yeah.
I can't, on the top of my head, I can't think of any other location. It's there. That's what my mind's telling me. Where else could it be?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank here.
King's Tome via Mirror.
Yes. Yes.
That's the other location. So this is just a big gamble, I feel.
Man.
Oh, of course you can access the last item inside of Thieves' Town now as well.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So a couple little things that can be done. But we got played with a little bit on Kova's side. Just, he thought about it so much.
So Leyra's going to give us King's Tomb first.
Oh, just blue rupee. We're down to 2 locations. This is definitely getting intense. It's a who will check where first. Of course, with both of them dipping out of pod, you wouldn't expect them to go back there first.
No. Now, Kova didn't take the flute immediately up to Death Mountain to check that ether tablet, so we'll be interesting to see if he pops into Thieves' Town right here, right now. Looks like he might be going for King's Tomb first.
Yeah, that's how I depict this as well. Leyra going into Thieves' Town and gonna get that last item out of here. Whether it's the useful one or not, we shall see. And with just the flip of a switch, we'll be down to the basement to see what item lies down here. And Ko probably really disappointed with that 5 rupees.
Yeah. I wonder if he's already thinking like it was a bad move to bail out of pod there.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, gonna stick with that decision. Gonna head up the mountain now. And here it is, the big chest. Oh no!
Oh!
Helmasaur had it all along!
You know, it's one of those situations where you get totally baited into the items that you have found. You know, flute and boots, you think, wow, like everything must be open to me now. But really, it didn't open up too much. So sticking with the dungeon would have been a pretty like solid play. But you know, I don't fault either runner for bailing on it. You know, it's a time sink. So, you know, I understand both runners backing out.
Right, exactly. So now it's a very interesting way to look at things. The Lumberjack Cave had 20 rupees, and the seed was aga required. The pedestal has 20 rupees, and we're going to have all 3 pendants.
Oh.
Maybe those 40 rupees will come in handy.
Yeah.
Of course, when you can complete a dungeon, the way I've always looked at it myself, in this version anyways, is if it's completable, you might as well do it, because maybe it holds what you need.
Yeah. Especially at the amount of time that was already spent in pod, you're thinking like, I might as well, you know, what's a Helmasaur King fight? Like, okay, I'm already here.
Yeah, very true.
So good on Kova here. He is not going to be doing the Thieves' Town big chest check. So that'll save him a little bit of time, help him catch up just a little bit here, because he was just falling behind ever so slightly with, I don't know if it's just the routing or the execution, but we've seen him just kind of slip a little bit, and this is going to give him a good chance to catch right back up.
Very true, without having to go through Thieves' Town, and we'll be right behind Leyra here.
So it'll be interesting to see what item we get out of Helmasaur. If it's the flippers, then our runners are going to go right to Swamp Palace. And if it's the Titan's Mitts, then it opens up a little bit more for our runners. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of divergence we might see if that is the item.
Very true. If Titan's Mitt happens to reveal itself, I would assume either the Mire area or the Turtle Rock area, just to look at what is lying on the mountain, I would say. And of course, having all of the medallions, you can enter at any time. Kova still has to go to the library to pick up that Quake, but it is there. And 17 smashes to the face mask here will break it off. Alternatively, you can use 3 bombs, I believe, but a lot slower and harder to do.
Alrighty, what does he got?
Ooh, the flippers.
So that item kind of keeps this run on the rails. It's going to be a play over to Swamp Palace next.
Right, exactly. The only other swimming dungeon would be Ice, but not having Titan's Mitt locks you out of there, so definitely makes you stay on a more so linear path to keep you trekking along. And Kova not too far behind, only a few rooms over to the Helmasaur King. And now with 6 items here in Swamp, maybe we could attempt to get that God Swamp where you have only items on your path towards Argus, but more so often than not, you see left side Swamp having an item or 2.
Yeah. Now it'll be interesting to see if we find like all of the pieces that we're looking for at this point. If we get Titan's Mitts as well as Ice Rod, then we'd be in go mode, or if we maybe just get one piece of the puzzle there.
Yeah. Well, at this point, thinking of what items we have and what we need, I believe Titan's mitts have to be in here.
Yes, actually, it's a good point. You're right.
Other than that, everything else can be scattered a little bit, I believe.
Yeah.
In which that just means I think we're on the hunt for Ice Rod for Go mode. Because with Titan's mitts, unless I'm missing a location, they are in here. Just means Ice Rod is our Go mode search.
Mm-hmm.
And Kova following those flippers, also heading down to the swamp.
I think, based on their timers, that it's somewhere around 90 seconds to about 2 minutes that Kova is behind here. So really not too far. Couple little gambles could help him catch up, or if the seed kind of opens up with those Titans mitts, then a couple of checks could get him right back into the mix here.
Yeah, exactly. For being an hour and 21 minutes in, like a minute and a half to 2 minutes isn't much at all, and that could all be made up by like one play.
Yep, left side, right side, and Ganon's tower even. So, yeah, still pretty close, which is really nice to see.
And lo and behold, there it is, the Titan's mitt. Only one. You only get it for one hand.
Yeah. So having found that, Leyra is going to go right for the back first here. Could skip out on left side, but we'll have to see.
Right, they already made that decision to skip out on Helmsar King.
Yeah.
You make the second gamble on skipping left side swamp.
I feel like our runners might have learned their lesson at this point. I'm probably just going to full clear it.
Right, exactly. And at the end of it, searching for Ice Rod, at least they don't have many locations left to look.
Yeah.
There's no more pendant dungeons.
Kova just getting in that map check there, just making sure he's in the right part of Swamp Palace, I suppose.
Yeah, you don't want to get lost. Getting
No.
lost would be no fun.
I really hate when you accidentally hit the map button. It feels like that screen being pulled up just takes forever.
Right, exactly. It's pretty much an eternity, is it not?
Yeah.
And Leyra doing a very fantastic puffball phase there. And 2 easy spins, misses the quick kill, but just as nice. Getting some bombs out of it. So now, do you go back in and check left side, or do you head off to Death Mountain or Mire?
I would do what Leyra is doing right now. I would feel just awful leaving left side swamp at this point in the run.
Yeah, exactly. When you need that one item to go, and you've already made that decision once, definitely would check it myself. A red rupee in the big chest. And the good part about doing left side afterwards is you can't flood the key.
Yes, that's a good point.
Kova also doing nice work here on Argus, destroying all the puffballs. And now gonna attempt another fast kill here. And gets it. Very nicely done.
Yeah, that was very nice. So this is an interesting moment for Kova here. If he chooses to skip left side, he potentially could be saving a bit of time on a couple of worthless checks, or he could be, you know, throwing the whole run away here.
Very true. Depending whether or not it is what you need, it's all dependent. Looks like we're skipping it on Kova's side.
Wow, the madman.
Yeah, overall, it was a red rupee, and I'm pretty sure there's only one item left here in the left side. So I can't blame Kova for leaving, but at the same time, if this is the ice rod, it is going to be a while before Kova comes back.
Okay, so just a heart container on the left side there. So Kova has made a good gamble here, saving a lot of time by not doing left side.
Right, exactly. So now that minute and a half to 2 minutes that Kova was behind, I would say he's now in the lead by 30 seconds. If you would even count it as a lead.
Yeah, I mean, he's brought himself like right up to basically neck and neck at this point. But yeah, I mean, he's got a little bit of an edge right now.
And Meyer requiring Bombos to enter, so we'll be able to do that, not needing to go and get Quake. So definitely nice as well.
So this makes sense to head into Meyer while you're here. You've done the checks for the Meyer Shed and Checkerboard Cave, so might as well jump into the dungeon here.
Right, exactly.
Two items are possibly found here. We are just looking for the ice rod at this point, though.
Yeah, exactly. One item to be searched for. Of course, you had the option of Meyer as well as ice. But the question is now is, do you go ice or do you check the mountain for ice rod first so you know you can go mode a dungeon?
Yikes. I mean, item density wise, there are a lot more locations up on East Dark Death Mountain there. You've got everything basically, Super Bunny Cave, Hookshot Cave, and all of Turtle Rock, versus 3 items in Ice Palace.
Right, so that's the way I think of it myself, is to go to the mountain. But if you're going to check Super Bunny as well as Hookshot Cave, you'd almost want to just do Turtle Rock as well since you're there. But if it happens to not be there, you'd be diving twice into TR.
Yeah, I think it's possible that we see one of our runners or both of our runners go mode Ice Palace before even going up to the mountain, and then just praying that the ice rod is up there somewhere.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility as well to have happen. And both of them finding half magic here in Meyer. And I don't recall seeing the second item here, though.
No.
I think Kova just opted to get the big key there and then go straight for Vitreous.
I think that's what he's playing at here, yeah. You know, I think when you know your opponent a little bit, you do a little bit of maybe research ahead of time, you know, Leyra's really solid, and you're getting to about an hour 30 here. You're thinking that he's going to be hitting the dot done soon if I don't, hurry up. So you start to take a couple of risks.
Right, exactly. So it's very interesting when you say that as well, with their play they made before, and both of them ended up making the same play. So overall, they're at the exact same point in the game. So now you're making more and more riskier plays. And on Kova's side, not checking Swamp ended up paying off here. But when you still need that Ice Rod, you never know where it could turn out.
Really effectively using the cape there through the entirety of the fight to take down Vitreous. Very nice.
Definitely a nice use of that half magic. Oh my.
Oh
there
no.
It is. That is go mode on Leyra's side. Uh-oh. Kova, no! Oh no. The gamble. And gambling on the mountain instead of going for the second item inside of Mire.
Oh no, that's so rough.
My words have been taken from my mouth. It's a very unfortunate thing to happen, but when you gamble, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, it was unfortunate in this case that our runners were given, like, the God Mire with the big key showing up so early. If it was in any other location in the dungeon, you would maybe think that you've already invested enough time, you might as well full clear. But for it to be in, like, the first chest that Kova checked, basically, you're thinking, I'm just going to save the time and I'm going to bail on it. I'm just going to go, right for the boss. I get it. Exactly. I get it. But, that's unfortunate.
And Leyra now heading off for Vitreous, but has the items they need, so they can now go mode both TR and Misery Mire. I can't blame them also. They're checking a high density area too, so... And TR also requires Bombos to enter.
So Kova's checked Super Bunny and Hookshot Cape, but is not going to go into Turtle Rock thinking that the Ice Rod might be there. Are we getting... Ooh, see, now so much of the world has opened up because of those Titan's Miss. We've got Blacksmiths and Purple Chest that he can check. He hasn't been into the Thieves' Town basement, so... we're going to see a real runaround from Kova, unfortunately.
Right, exactly. With a few locations that were pretty much gambled and skipped earlier on as well. Like, you can go into Thieves' Town to get that item on Kova's side now. You have this whole Smith loop. So many things are open. So by the time you go back to Mire to find that Ice Rod, could be already too late.
Meanwhile, Leyra has entered Ice Palace. We'll to go mode this dungeon, so it's going to be a mighty quick clear here.
Very true. I fully expect a nice bomb jump there. Oh, silver arrows in the Peg Cave, though. Definitely a nice find there.
Probably not going to be enough to bring Kova back into this match, but a nice find nonetheless.
Very true. One of my least favorite rooms in the game.
Yeah.
When you think it's going to change directions, it doesn't.
Nope.
Very nice bomb jump.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't quite set it up right, but is able to correct very quickly there, so very nice.
And the lunchbox holding 50 rupees. It's quite the expensive lunch.
Yeah.
And now here's the ice dive on Kova's side. So we'll see a little bit of a different ice, I would assume, with probably a near full clear on Kova's side, but could also gamble that as well and maybe go to TR. You never know.
Yeah. And while we were watching Kova pick up a couple of extra checks there, Leyra's already at the bottom of Ice Palace here.
Definitely the benefit of having Go Mode Ice. You check nothing and you just go. Absolutely fantastic fight as well. Just getting Cold Stare pinned in that corner. And the explosions hiding whatever the item was.
Yeah. I assume it was a bomb or arrow capacity upgrade.
That's definitely a possibility. I think it was a key, actually.
Oh, yes, that's a good point. It probably was a key.
Yeah, it had a key on their HUD there, so I assume it's that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll know the further Kova goes, but then again, there's no more keys to pick up, so yeah, it was a key. And now Leyra heading off to the final dungeon of the game, having to full clear this game.
Yeah. So just thinking back on how Misery Mire went down there, that first item that we found was the half magic. Is that right?
Yes, inside Mire, yeah.
Yeah. So we found so Kova's 2 chests that he opened were half magic. So one of the 2 items in Misery Mire, and then the big key. So you get a Misery Mire like that, and if you're going to be gambling on anything, you're thinking there's no way that that second item is going to be anything of value.
Very true. Like, I mean, when you're handed the God Mire, you want to take it. It was just so opportune. Leyra getting Dead Rock twice. Gonna opt to reset them there. Getting technically Dead Rocked a 3rd time, but can walk around the Bonk Rocks. And off into TR we go. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be seeing everything filled in on the tracker, but it's pretty dang close.
Yep. The Swagnet spot will remain forever blank, as that was up on the Zora ledge. But yeah, a couple things missing from our repertoire today.
Exactly. I assume with Leyra not checking a lot of chests that they're comfortable with doing silverless as well, in which that's in the Peg Cave, so won't be seeing that either, I would assume. And Kova is doing a full clear here in ice, looking for those items. And there's our 4th bottle to add to our count.
Kova picked up the red mail in Ice Palace. So we haven't found the fourth sword yet, which the third, the tempered sword, we found on blind. So at the time we were, we didn't really find much of value. There's the powder. We didn't find much of value in Thieves' Town, but seeing as we haven't seen that fourth sword, and Leyra is choosing to skip out on the silvers at this point, tempered versus Ganon is a lot better than a Master Sword silverless Ganon.
Right, exactly. Master Sword Silverless is a very long fight. And anything can happen. You take one wrong misstep and you will be knocked off the edge. It looks like we're still on the hunt for that big key inside TR, so we'll most likely be doing the room after the pokey.
Yeah,
and by the
I think
room
so.
after the pokey, I'm meaning the chest after the pokey, since it's a room you've already been in, technically speaking.
Yep, the good old lava island chest.
Gets 3 of those anti-fairies in one go.
So with the big key being in this chest here, the vanilla location for it, the odds of us getting a laser bridge skip are a little bit less. I think we have to have both of the big chest and then the one small chest remaining before the basement be small keys. So that doesn't happen too often.
Right, exactly. It's pretty much... it lessens that chance greatly. Whereas you have 4 chests on Laser Eye that a key could wind up in. And definitely one of the chests before the dark room is guaranteed a key, so...
Yes. So Kova wraps up Ice Palace. Now this also opens up Pyramid Fairy for him. He is still looking for that Ice Rod.
Yeah, the more Kova does, the more random things that are now unlocked for him to complete. So we got 1 key. Did not get the 2nd key. So we will be saying Laser Bridge.
So looks like Kova is going to go for Pyramid Fairy there.
Yeah, definitely cannot blame him on that. There is a few things in dungeons that he skipped as well, so it'll be interesting to see when he decides to go back there, or if he decides to just gamble TR having Ice Rod.
Yeah.
And Leyra opting to use the Rod of Burna there. Get the small key on the 3rd chest. Looks like gonna open that 4th one anyways.
Yeah, just on the off chance that it might be silver arrows.
Very true. And just like if you were to climb Ganon's tower, you may still look at the 4 chests near the top, just in case.
Very nice cane dash there.
And just like that, we're already going on to Trinex.
Meanwhile, Kova is making the gamble that Ice Rod is kicking around in TR, which unfortunately it is not.
Yeah, very unfortunate on that part. Leyra doing a nice first phase here on Try Next. Now onto the second. And very fast. If you blinked, you missed it. It's already over.
Yeah, very nice fight.
And with that, we now have 7 crystals, and we like to play a little game here on the Speed Gaming channel. Do you happen to know what that game is, Sabo?
I do, Aether. So basically, in Ganon's Tower, we are looking for the big key, and it can be found in any of the first 22 chests, 21 chests? What is it, 22? 22. And we want you to put your guesses in the chat, 1 to 20, whatever it is, 21, 22. I've forgotten today. I don't know what's wrong with me.
22.
22. Excellent. And if you have subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels or donated 250 bits across any of those channels, you have a chance to get your name on our fantastic leaderboard. So put the guesses in the chat. We'll stop the guessing game once Leyra enters Ganon's Tower here, and then we will see if you're right.
Very true. And even if you haven't been a supporter of the channel, feel free to play anyways. It's never a bad thing to play. And it looks like left side is our option this time.
Yep, getting locked out with no keys there, I think, is good. Whenever I get a key on that right side, it always makes me think for a second that I should do right side, but I never like to do it. So
yeah, it's very true. There's a lot more items on left side, so there's more chances to find it. And with that, that is 7 chests done. We have 5 keys in our arsenal.
well, there's our butter sword.
Mhm.
Nice.
Very nice to find. So that's chest number 8, and a few more to go.
I always bank on Rando Room having the big key.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Both the right side and left side have access to a room with 4 chests early on, but left side has access to the wonderful Rando Room having 4 more chests. So that's chest number 9. And here we go into the Rando Room. And that makes 13.
And we still haven't found it.
So it's either going to be Bob's chest, behind the Ice Armos, or behind the right-hand side. So at this point in time, if you had gambled right and done full right, it wouldn't be any different, I feel, from doing left.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's, of course, in that group of 4 or tile room. And Bob's chest here will be number 14.
Oh, shovel.
Do you like fetch quests? That we probably won't see?
Yeah, right. The thing about the Ganon's Tower basement is every single chest that is not the big key is just like one more little pang of anxiety, because you're already you're thinking that your opponent is neck and neck with you at this point, and you just want to find the key and get your way up the tower.
Yeah, exactly. And that is now 17 chests. So right side is our answer here. Do you gamble tile room before going to the group of 4, or do you go to the group of 4 first?
Oh boy, I think I always save tile room for last.
Yeah, I definitely see a lot of people do that as well.
And Leyra will be one of them also doing that. And this is another one of those things where if you think that your opponent might have done something silly, like grabbed that one key on the torch there and then went right side, you're thinking, oh no, like I wasted all that time on the left.
Right, exactly. It's always a possible thing that is what they do. So that'll always sit in the back of your mind until you hit done. $18, $19, $20, $21. Almost the tile room. Very close to it. So number 21 is our winner.
Meanwhile, Kova has just finished off Laser Bridge here, realizing that the Ice Rod is not here, and has got to start feeling like this one's maybe a bit out of reach.
Yeah, very true. And looks like Kova is going to flute away and search elsewhere now.
And a shout out to Inderf for being the closest sub or supporter with your guess of 19. That was the closest guess to our 21 there.
I'm surprised that no one in chat said 22.
Yeah.
Or at least no supporter said 22. Very interesting. You guys are changing on me. And the magic bat holds just the heart piece. And meanwhile, Leyra heading up that tower, doing the gauntlet. Although it is running lower on arrows, doesn't necessarily need them anymore because it does not have silvers for Ganon.
Pretty solid gauntlet through and through there.
Definitely. Enemies being in just the right places, I feel. Some of them can definitely troll around a little bit in those rooms, making it a lot harder to track them down on the conveyor belts.
Yeah, I particularly dislike the one with the red Stalfos in them.
Yeah, they get away from you, and of course, when you're on a conveyor belt, you're being pushed away, so your sword slash may not just hit it quite, and it'll jump further away.
So Kova is making the left side play in Swamp here that he left behind earlier. So literally the last place that he's going to be checking for that Ice Rod is the one chest that he missed out on in Misery Mire.
Overall, a very unfortunate turn of events, but overall, when you skip something, it could hold exactly what you need, so...
So Leyra, waiting for that torch to go out there, kind of had a little bit of a blunder with a fall there, so wants to just reset this room before going ahead and taking it on again.
Right, exactly. I think there would have been just enough time to sneak in there without waiting, but doesn't take the chances with having such a low amount of magic. And as I was saying before, probably going to check these chests just in case of silver.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, now I believe this is going to be the big chest inside Thieves' Town for Kova.
Yes, seems like it, which I think was one of our big 20s.
We'll get closer and closer to that final item, and then Kova will wind up heading up to Ganon's tower as well. And Moldorm just stashing away at 20 rupees.
So with a clean Agate 2 fight and a good solid Ganon, this run might fall just under 2, but we might see just a little bit above 2 hours, which, you know, for kind of a messy, all dungeons, Agate required seed, not a bad time.
Right, exactly. Getting a triple on the first phase, a single on the second, and a single on the third, and another single equals our 6. And 1 pig roast away from the Triforce.
Yeah, this is going to be a silverless fight, but with the Butter Sword, should be pretty easy for Leyra. Some nice dash strats here.
And just like that, on to phase 3 of Ganon. The one Wizrobe there getting slightly off screen for the Samaria shot. It's also very nice to have half magic here as well, making it a little easier to do the silverless.
Yeah. And Leyra timing that very nicely to get 3 hits with 1 torch light there. This is a really solid silverless fight so far.
Definitely. It'll be over before we know it. And just like that, the pig goes down.
So Leyra has finished up with an official SRTV time at 2 hours and 3 seconds. So almost the sub 2 dream there. Put your GGs in the chat for him. He is on to the brackets.
Yeah, GG Leyra, and congrats on that. Very nice. Looks like Kova is continuing on here, gonna head off and grab that ice rod out of Mire.
So we'll try and get Leyra in here momentarily for an interview, just to see what he thinks of everything about this seed. In the meantime, we'll just kind of see what Kova decides to do here.
Yeah, mere chests away from getting the ice rod here. Of course, because the blue peg Zerp would have to go around to loot that one. We'll see if they decide to do that or not, or head off to the other section. And off they go. A few little locations left to check. And there it is, ice rod in hand. So Kova will end up heading up to TR right away.
You know, this it happens from time to time in Randomizer. You're bound to encounter it where, you know, the ice rod or some other similar item, although the ice rod is generally the most common one, is just, it can be anywhere in the world and it ends up being in the last place that you check. So, you know, I think anyone who's run the game, it can feel the pain on this one here. We all know that feeling.
Right. It is one commonly known by most people.
Hello.
And we are joined by LeyraGG's, man. How you doing? Oop, we had him there for a second. Some minor technical difficulties. We'll get Leyra back in here in a second.
Yeah, as for now, we can watch Kova trek on through TR and go fight the three-headed beast.
Hello, hello. Or maybe not.
Alright, and I believe Kova has already checked most things here, so we'll be able to just head on straight to try next. Which I suppose is the only plus side to checking here first. You don't have to really do anything much after that, and you can just head on to try next and be done with it all.
That is true. And you do notice that if someone is in this situation when they go through Turtle Rock, it does save you a bit of time. So that is good. Probably small consolation for Kova at this point, but it's something at least.
Yay, I can hear you now.
Hey,
Oh!
welcome.
Sorry about that, guys.
No
all
problem.
good.
Leyra, GG's, man. How you feeling?
GG's, that was... I felt like I was struggling that whole time. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, as we were watching you guys run, it was there was a lot of points where it was fairly linear, but I mean, you guys kept getting fed one item at a time that just one more thing to check before going to like Aga. You had, Death Mountain access and things like that. So the way that this seed played out, it just felt like you were being strung along in like kind of a convoluted way.
Yeah, when I finally got Dark World access, it took a long time to get Dark World access. I had the old, do I go to Pod or do I take the North Dark World route? And I was like, well, let's try North Dark World. And I cleared everything along the path, including both pendant dungeons, and got pretty much nothing until Hype Cave. It felt pretty bad. And then I went back into Pod and got boots and flute, and I was like, there's no way Homa has something useful, right? Well, joke's on.
Of course.
Now, what if I told you that Kova did the exact same thing?
That's exactly what I was telling myself the entire time. I said there's still a pretty good chance that, I mean, even if he went to Pod right at Dark World, he couldn't have killed Helma. So I was like, maybe this is okay.
Right. To even access Helmasaur, you had to make that full loop around to get Hammer out of Hype Cave. So overall, both of you did that exact same play before even going to Pod. But both ended up doing that dip with one item left in the dungeon. Just noped out.
Yeah, that was pretty painful. And then, of course, I was like, At that point, I was kind of choosing between, I think the only things I had left were like King's Tomb, Thieves' Town Big Chest, and Helmasaur. So I was like, well, I don't really want to go back to Helmasaur. Let's try these other two things.
Right. And now, when you ended up doing Swamp, then after Pod, when you had those two items left on the left side, was that going through your mind like, I just skipped out on this stuff, I shouldn't skip out here?
At that point, I was really tempted to skip left side because I felt behind, but I'm not a fan of skipping left side because that's a gamble where if you're right, you save a couple minutes going back in. If you're wrong, you lose the race because you don't go back there. And at that point, I had a ton of access. So if I skipped Ice Rod on left side of the Swamp, the game was over because I wouldn't be back there until after full clearing Mire, Death Mountain, Smith's Sequence, and Ice Palace. So I was like, it's not worth it to me to get a couple minutes back in my favor to potentially lose the race. And then, actually, that's the point where the seed started. I started feeling like I did okay because I went right to Mire and got that Ice Rod. I felt like maybe I got some time back there, skipping, all that overworld stuff and skipping, getting the Go Mode Ice and all that good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It was interesting because Kova did decide to skip left side Swamp, and up until that point, you guys had been kind of more or less in lockstep, but he had fallen just a little bit behind, and so he skipped left side and ended up ahead of you by maybe about 10 or 15 seconds. So you guys are both in the Mire area at exactly the same time. But unfortunately for Kova, he skipped on the chest that had the Ice Rod in it.
Oh, he skipped it completely, or did he just gamble going straight to Vitreous and then?
He was gambling. I think he was playing the odds there and thought you had picked up half magic in first, and then it was the big key after that, and so I think he thought there's no way that this second item is going to be anything.
Yeah, I the same thing. I had that thought. I was like, man, maybe I'll just go right to Vitreous and hope he has it. But I would have gone back in anyways afterwards. But it was tempting to, because Mire's like a pretty slow dungeon to clear the rest of that stuff for that one other item at that point. I don't blame him. That's a play I can see making sense.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about in the booth here.
Yeah, exactly. There, you had access to all of Dark Death Mountain as well at the same time. So when you have such a plethora of items available, you kind of want to check those first, kind of thing, other than one-off location.
Yeah, it totally makes sense, like mathematically, but to me, it's the same as skipping left side Swamp, where if you skip that item and it's there, you lose the race. Whereas if you invest a couple of minutes to clear it out, you're It's like it's a high risk, high reward play, basically, is how I think of it.
Yeah, it's a very good way to look at it. Because even if you were to check it and for it to not be there, it wouldn't be as long as to have to come back later.
Yeah, and flute back out there, take the portal, run back up there, and do the, the entryway, Mire 1, Mire 2 rooms and stuff.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on this seed?
So I don't know if you guys have been watching a lot of the tournament, but I have seen a lot of people take the mushroom up to the witch, turn it in, and hard reset. And I thought I was going to be real cute and clever and do that, and I didn't. I save and quit instead of hard resetting. That was embarrassing.
I think some people in chat pointed out, like that you had saved and quit, and they're like, "Oh, rip, fake powder." So that's funny that it wasn't intended. You had actually wanted to save that.
Yeah, I absolutely did. That's why I save and quit, went from Sanctuary, and took that long walk. I was like, let me knock this out. Maybe I'll get my Darkhold access. And whoops. It was fun though.
So how are you feeling? You are 5-2. You're going to the brackets, man. What do you think?
I feel pretty good. I went to 4-0 and then lost 2 in a row, and I was kind of like not feeling so hot. But I felt like it was a slow time. Like my time wasn't good, but I checked 172 locations in under 2 hours. It's not bad. So I feel pretty good. This was what I was hoping to get. Just get to the brackets. That was my goal, and I accomplished that. So pretty happy. Should be fun.
Nice.
Kova about to find that big key here now in Ganon's Tower. Pretty much after skipping Ice Rod, ended up going back and rechecking everything that you could.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, is that with gambles like that, like skipping Hera Basement or one item, or like for me, Helmasaur, you don't go back there until it's your last potential location, so it's pretty painful if you guess wrong.
Right, and now are you yourself excited about going into the bracket stage here?
Yeah, I am. It's gonna be fun. I'm sure I'll like draw Ajneb the first round and get dumpstered or something, but it'll be a good time either way.
It's definitely a good way to look at it, is just have fun.
Yeah, this whole tournament's been just an absolute blast, and I loved every second of it, so I'm enjoying it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
And with that said, if you don't have any other final thoughts on this seed, we'll go back to commentating on Kova here, and another big GG's to you there.
Thanks, guys. GG's. Thanks for commentary, and enjoy the rest of the climb here.
Alrighty. So that was our winner, LeyraGG. Moving on to brackets, 5-2.
Yeah, a very good performance overall with what the seed threw at both of these runners. It wound up being a decently open seed that got linear over time. And it all comes down to one play.
And I guess like it's always tough to take a loss in this kind of fashion, but I mean, when you can point to like only one thing that really cost you the race, I mean, everything else that Kova has done in this race has been great. His execution has been like on point. A lot of other plays have been really good. I mean, that gamble not doing left side of Swamp, that would have paid off, but just that one missed location is all it takes.
Right, and by saying that, it's pretty much you are going out fighting in this fashion.
Yeah.
You are showing a good performance at the end of it, and you are proving that you have this score because of your own performances.
And to answer the question in chat there, are there any 7-0 runners? There, I think at the end of all of this Swiss, what is it? There's like 4? Is it 4?
Yeah, 4. Of course, I know Oddwall's there, posting that there's 2 thus far, so whenever the other 2 play, I mean, maybe they have, I just haven't kept track of those matches in particular, but yeah, at the end there'll be 4. In the perfect world, if there was 0 drops, there would be 4 at 0 and 7 as well. I mean, I went and did all the calculations a few weeks ago just for the heck of it, and I have like a list of how many would be at each score.
Nice.
Where I put that list after calculating it, I don't know. Alright. I always find it's really good to open those skulls here, going up, just so you don't potentially soft lock.
Yeah. I feel like if that torch room, the first torch room there, goes really smoothly, then just go right for the stairs and you'll be okay. But if you've got any kind of doubt that you might have got slowed up, just wait it out. You do not want the despawn to happen.
Right, exactly. And now, what's funny is if that bomb exploded like a half a second later, the hole actually wouldn't appear, but you'd still be able to walk through it due to when those other torches went out.
Ah.
I've only seen it once before, but it's very funny to see. You'll hear the sound of it opening, but because those torches went out at the same time, the texture doesn't change.
Oh, nice.
And a room of conveyors and ice, another one of my least favorite rooms.
Yeah, if you've got the boots, Kova shows us kind of the right way to go about it. If you can get that kind of nailed down, then it's not too bad a room. If you are going in there without boots, that room is a nightmare every time.
Right, exactly. I think your option is just kill the mini Helmosaurs and then move on.
Yeah.
Narrowly missing a triple there. It almost looked really good.
Nice double there.
And there we have it. Aghanim goes down. So just the big pig left for Kova. And with Buttersword making this a very fast fight, also has silvers to make the end very fast as well. Three more slashes and we'll be into phase 4.
Alrighty, on to phase 4 here.
It's a very nice double setup there. Very nice. A fantastic Ganon fight from Kova.
Mm-hmm. So all he's got to do is walk up that last flight of stairs. And Kova finishes up with an official SRTV time of 2:20:16. GG's in the chat, please, for Kova.
Yeah, GG. I applaud Kova for sticking that out after finding that ice rod again. But overall, a very nice performance from both runners here. The seed was pretty linear for the most part, heading towards the end. If you were to not skip much, I feel this would be an absolutely very close race.
Yeah, I mean, as we saw, they were neck and neck going into Misery Mire there. So it just came down to that skipped chest where the ice rod was kicking around.
Right. Ice rod seems to be that one item that you end up chasing for the most part in these seeds.
So Kova is going to join us for a quick little interview in just a second. So we'll get him in here, and then we'll start to wrap things up for this broadcast. So just hold tight. Alrighty, and we are joined by Kova46. Kova, GG's, man.
GG. I'm so happy that's over.
What a nightmare, huh?
This is a prime example of don't skip chests.
Yeah. You know, like, it was a pretty linear seed. You know, you guys kind of got, you know, a couple of little, like, breadcrumbs here and there. You guys were pretty much in lockstep through most of it. What do you think? How did that seed feel for you before the whole ice rod debacle?
I felt behind after dipping Skullwoods, checking Green Pendant, checking Pedestal, and then going into Thieves Town, leaving a chest back there because I didn't have Hammer. But the Thieves play was pretty much because you got one item in the front, and without having Hammer, you have to walk around the whole Dark World north side to get back there. So I figured, oh, I'm here, might as well complete the dungeon anyways. And then Hype Cave finally turning up Hammer, and then Pod being the gold mine that was the third pendant that I was going into. So at that point, full clearing the third one, knowing Pedestal wasn't required, was kind of a hard choice to make. So I dipped out before getting, what was it, Flippers off of Helmosaur?
Yes, that was right. We saw that you had a little bit of indecision there, and we were really hoping that you were going to stick it out and go right for Helmosaur after you had cleared out most of the rest of the dungeon, because you were maybe only at that point about, I don't know, a minute or two behind Leyra, and Leyra had just noped out of Pod at the same time, basically.
Oh, wow.
So we wanted to see what was on Helma there.
Yeah, and that was pretty much the turning point, because after that it was linear through Swamp. You got the glove. You went up to either Mire or Death Mountain, I think was the other choice.
Yeah.
But both you and Leyra actually made that same decision and to not go to Helmosaur.
Yeah,
which is very, very incredible. Overall, it was Leyra in the lead until the end of Swamp, where Leyra opted to go towards left side, and you opted to skip it. But then the turning point ends up being that ice rod.
Yeah, and had Leyra done Skullwoods or Thieves Town
everything was the exact same.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we kept thinking there was going to be some divergence somewhere along the line, but yeah, you guys were like neck and neck for most of that race, which was entertaining for us, and then yeah, just unfortunate at the end there. But
yeah, and at the beginning, I think I was on pins and needles pretty much that the Ether tablet didn't have glove, because I think I left that and God, I want to say Bottle Vendor before doing Aghanim.
Yeah, there was very little on the table for you when you guys both decided to do Aga. I think
it was down to just Ether tablet at that point in time.
Yeah, it was.
In which didn't hold anything. So
Kova, you left Sick Kid, I think. I think Leyra did that check before doing Aga, but you didn't, and you went right for Aghanim.
Yeah, that's correct. Definitely.
Well, so unfortunately, yeah, by losing this match, you don't quite make the brackets. How do you feel about, I don't know, just the tournament? We ended up with a winning record, which is good in a field stacked with pretty good competition. So I guess give us a couple of thoughts on just how you're feeling about the tournament.
I think the tournament went great. Guys running it put on a great tournament. 7 weeks. It got a lot of publicity for a lot of runners, and I think that's a really good thing. 7 weeks of playing Zelda, definitely wouldn't complain about that. And I think going out at right now is I can't be discouraged. These are all great runners. Leyra played a great seed, and now that the Super Metroid crossover randomizer is out, I'm gonna have lots of time to play that. So pretty happy.
Nice, nice.
And thanks to you guys for restreaming this, tracking, commenting. Thanks, guys.
Oh yeah, well thanks for putting on a great show for us. So what do you think, Aether? Is that gonna do it for us here?
Yeah, everything has been covered that I had on my mind.
Perfect. So I guess shout outs to our tracker today, Oddwalls. Thank you so much for clicking those buttons behind the scenes. GG's again to our runners. Give them a follow if you like what you saw today. And I had a great time commentating with you, Aether. I've been Sabotender, and I think I will leave the last word with my wonderful co-commentator here.
Yes, I am Chris Aether, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight.
Alrighty, well that'll do it for us. Have a good night, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.